Hey there, Christy again, back with another tips and tricks video. Today we're going to talk about how to search for images that you need to create your book covers more quickly and efficiently. The majority of the process of creating the book covers honestly is in the search process typically, rather than the actual making of the book cover. So tracking down the images, since it is the most time-consuming part typically, it would be helpful to have some hints on how to make that process quicker. So as you can see here, I have all the websites that I typically use to find cover art, and then they're in order from the most commonly used to least commonly used. So for example, these first four, Google, Amazon, Pango Books, and eBay, I probably get over 75%, if not much higher, from those four alone. And then these bottom three, I don't typically use as a first source ever, but they could come in handy if I am struggling to find what I need in the first four websites here. So the first trick that I'm going to give you is how to get better at doing Google image searches. So for example, if we are going to search for the book, let's just go with Onyx Storm because it just came out. So we're going to search for the Onyx Storm book cover. Well, the book cover itself, you typically will never struggle with. So I don't think I can even think of an instance where I could not find the book cover. I've been given very obscure challenges before of books that even the person warned me would be very difficult to find, and typically I've still been able to find them. So you shouldn't have an issue with that necessarily. So the book cover, we don't really need tips or tricks for that. However, once we get into the back cover, that will typically be the next hardest section. And so a tip here is to try and find an image that is the correct cover that you want to use, even if the quality is not great. So for example, I see this one here. I notice here underneath that it says this is the Target exclusive edition, which gives me some heads up that, oh, okay, this may not match the front cover unless I purposely pick the Target exclusive edition. So you want to pay attention to things like that if that will bother you. But let's say, so this back cover is the one that I want. So I want this Target exclusive edition back cover. If I scroll down, Google is going to suggest other images that have that back cover in it. Now in this case, the original image honestly is usable enough, so I wouldn't have needed to dig any deeper. But let's say we're going to search for something a little bit trickier. So we're going to search for here's a book that I read recently. I hope this finds you well. Loved it. All right, so when I search for that, actually, funnily enough, one of the results is from one of the websites that I have listed called Book Excess. However, this is a book of poems. This is not the book that I'm referring to, so you got to be careful to not get too excited too quickly. So I'm actually looking for the back cover that goes with this book. And so here, this very first result, okay, that is a back cover that I could use. However, it's going to be pretty difficult given the angle that it's at and all that. So if I scroll down, here's Google suggesting similar back covers. Now it's incorrectly suggesting this one, which is not the same book, but it also suggests this one here. Now when I click on that, the quality is pretty good, so I could easily just use this one. If I click on it, I know from experience that this website, because it's from the Philippines, you have to be able to log in to get to click on the image, but that's okay. I could just copy it from here directly. It just won't be the highest quality, but it's still usable. And then if I scroll down, I'm not really getting lucky with any other suggestions. So let's say, okay, I've kind of scrolled around. I'm not seeing the back cover. So then what would I do? Well, then that's when I would kind of go to the next place. So Amazon sometimes will have the back cover. So here's the Amazon front cover. And in this case, no, there is no back cover with this book. I would say it's like 50-50-ish, probably a little worse than 50-50. For whatever reason, Amazon doesn't always have the back cover. They just always have the front cover. So then I would go down to these next two. Now I kind of interchange which one that I prefer to use. Lately I've been gravitating towards eBay. So with eBay, so I'm going to type in, I hope this finds you well, and it's by Natalie Sue. So I'm going to include that. So tip on eBay. If you are searching on eBay, I'm going to scroll down so you can kind of see what I mean. If you see an image that looks like it is a stock image, like it looks like a human did not hold a camera and take a picture of the cover, then more than likely you are not going to find a back cover if you click on that. You're just going to find a stock image. But if you scroll and you see ones that a person clearly took with a camera, that's when you're going to have a good chance at finding a back cover or a spine. So here's a great example of that. So here I have a back cover, which is even better than the back cover we saw earlier. And I also have a spine. So you want to look for eBay images that, again, look like they were taken by a person with a camera. And I tend to try and click on the ones that look like they'll have a good chance because the original photo is good. And so typically that'll lead to better images. So here's another trick. Let's say, so for example, I have a back cover option here. It's great quality. I would use this, no problem. But let's say it's not great quality for the sake of an argument. Another tip to find more images, at least on Windows, I guess I'm not positive this is on Mac, but if you right click and you hit search with Google Lens, it will then try to find other images online that look like that image. So this time it did not succeed. I'm going to try and bring it in a little bit, see if that helps it out. It doesn't always work. Okay, there we go. So because I had narrowed it down by highlighting just the back cover, so it suggested some more to me. It's not always correct. So you can see here there's some that are definitely not correct. It's just basing it off of the way it looks. So that can sometimes be helpful too by searching with Google Lens and sort of like highlighting the area that you're hoping to find. So like if I did that with the spine, I probably won't get super lucky with that. Yeah, so it's not finding anything for the spine, but that can sometimes work depending on the image that you're using. All right, so then I found a back cover and I got lucky and I found a spine. So that's how much easier it can be by just going to eBay, because these did not show up on Google Images, right? They only showed up because I went to eBay and I scrolled through eBay and tried to find images by people. Pango Books works the same way. So Pango Books is basically just a used bookstore online. So if I were to do that same search on Pango Books, I'm just going to copy this over, it basically is the same as eBay. So as you can see, the difference on Pango Books is that all of the images will be taken by people. So you have a chance at any of these working. There's not a ton of results here. Sometimes there's pages and pages of results. So then what I like to do to save time, so this can just be a time-saving trick, if you just right-click on the image and open it in a new tab, I will typically speed click through all of these. So I will speed right-click on all of these, open all of them up in one row, and then I will look through them. So there's a back cover, not super great though. I will quickly look through them and just X out the tabs as I go. So here's a back cover and a spine, but they're no better than the eBay ones we found. Nothing here, nothing here. So you can see at the bottom, if there's multiple images, they'll kind of be shown down here as a preview. So that's typically how I move faster. I just right click, open in a new tab, and I open a whole bunch at once so I can just quickly glance through them. Because if I just click on the image itself, so let's just say I click on this. Okay, I opened it, but now I have to go back, and then I have to click on another one, go back, click on another one, go back. So a time-saving tip can just be right click, open in a new tab, and then check them all out quickly and X them out as you go. So that's Pango Books and eBay, very similar. eBay sometimes will have stock images that are not helpful, whereas Pango Books will only be images taken by people. However, with that being said, sometimes the quality can vary on both because people are the ones taking the photos. All right, so those two websites are very similar. Now, I will say that these other three websites, if you are going to use them, this one does not, BookXS, does not have every book, but it also randomly has some that are popular, some that aren't. But let's say, you're making this book here, An American Marriage. You can see that there is a back cover for it. Typically, BookXS does not have spines, but it does have back covers a lot. When it comes to the next website, archive.org, it is actually a website that archives basically anything that's shown up on the internet in the past. Obviously not every single thing, but you can see here 928 billion web pages on the internet. So for example, I do have more luck using archive for older books. So I'm going to do Charlotte's Web and I'm going to search for text contents. So I'm going to change that to click on text contents. And when I hit go, you can scroll quickly and kind of get a feel for what kind of options you might have. I personally love first edition covers. And so let's say I'm kind of looking around and I definitely want to go with first edition. So the nice thing about archive is 95% of the time it will have the back cover. So this is the front cover here. And to get the back cover, if you just take this and scroll it all the way across to the very back, it'll show you the back cover. To get rid of these blue boxes, just X out the search over here, and then those will go away. The one caveat to archive.org is you cannot copy and paste from them. So you have to use a skill that I've talked about in a previous video, which is snipping an image. So on a Windows computer, you would go to your snipping tool. On a Mac, you would do Command-Shift-4, and then you're just gonna snip the image rather than copy and paste it. And then you can copy it from here. So that's what I like about archive.org is that almost always has the back cover. However, they don't always have whatever book you're looking for. So like I said, I do better with older books on this website, even though technically it archives all the way up till now. The very last one, I won't touch on that one in this video. I really do not use it except for in the most rare of occasions because it's just not great for finding back covers or spines. Once in a while you will find one, but I would exhaust all the others before I would try there. I've gotten like that bit of luck sometimes for the back cover, but I typically do not ever start there. So again, to summarize, the tips that we talked about today, when it comes to Google Images, just making sure that when you find an image you want, that you scroll and then see if you can find other images that are similar by scrolling down underneath the photo that you originally found. That's one of my favorite tips. On eBay and Pango Books, eBay in particular, just making sure that you are looking for images like this, where it's clear that a person took the photo versus one like this, where it's a stock image, because these typically do not have back covers or spines, whereas these ones do. And on Pango Books, same thing, but on Pango Books, people take all the photos, so you won't have an issue there. But the tip on Pango Books and on eBay that you can apply is that you right-click on all of the results and open them in a new tab. And then you quickly just scroll through those, kind of check out what they have, exit out when you're done with the tab, because a lot of times there won't be other images, and so you just quickly kind of want to speed through those. And like I said, with Book Excess, typically it's hit or miss, but they will often have back covers. Same with archive.org. Neither of these typically have spines. So with all that being said, I hope your searches become a little quicker, a little more efficient. If you have any questions or comments or things that you're curious about or that I could clarify, please don't hesitate to comment that below and or reach out to me. These are all the first draft of these tips and tricks, and so I'm sure over time they will get better and have more specific things to help you out. In the meantime, happy bookmaking, and thank you again for your support. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.